Good morning, gardening friends. Today is Saturday, November 19th. We had our first frost last night. It got down to 30 degrees, and I'd say it was probably below freezing for about 4 hours. And it did touch some things in my backyard, and I thought I'd just take a walk around and see what we could learn from the frost. First off, you can see that it did get my Brugmansia or angel's trumpet. But the interesting thing is, it got the leaves at the top, but not the leaves at the base. And if you look close inside, the leaves inside still look fresh and green. So that plant is not dead. It got nipped, and it'll keep growing. So it didn't kill it. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the wasps. The wasps are now gone for the season. They'll be back next year. Full disclosure, I did bring these cyclamen in the house. I didn't necessarily have to, but I didn't want to take the chance, because this year I paid $6 a piece for these suckers and I'm not wasting my money, so I brought them in. That's the reason I have them in pots. Okay, here are the banana trees. You can see that they did get a little frostbite. However, it did not kill them. It just bit the leaves. New leaves come from the stem, and as long as that stem is still green and not brown, it's still alive and will continue to send up new leaves. And in fact, if you look at some of these smaller ones, they were protected by the leaves above them. So I'm going to leave these leaves for a little longer and see what the banana trees do, because it wasn't a hard frost, so the banana trees still have life in them. You can see I did not protect my datura or thorn apple, and actually here's one of the thorns has finally split open and you can see the seeds inside. Full disclosure, I would not, and I won't, have this datura next to my back door again next year. It is a beautiful plant, but it stinks. If you brush against the leaves, it gives off a nasty odor. So it's one of those things that's beautiful to look at, but you don't want to really have it right up in your face. So I will probably save some of the little seedlings, and I'll just plant it out in the yard next year. I did not protect or bring in these geraniums, and the geraniums still seem to be doing okay. Again, the frost was not last night, but the night before. My roses, it didn't impact the new fresh growth on them at all. Of course, now they are protected. That's one of the beauties of having fencing and shrubbery. That stuff kind of does protect and create some little warm pockets around the yard. You can see my ligularia was not touched. We did make some progress on my garage this weekend, or this week I should say. We got one side of it replaced, all the rot. Good news was the rot at the bottom, where there was a little hole in the siding, did not get into the interior of the structure. Fortunately, last time I replaced the siding, it did get to the sill, and I replaced the sill with treated wood. I was going to say indoor-outdoor, with treated wood, and therefore, even though it might have been a little moist, it wasn't rotted, nor did it have any termite damage, which is always a good thing. My satsumas are ripe. I have not had any yet, but I plan on cooking with them shortly. I do like to make a cranberry orange bread, and I think I may make a loaf for Thanksgiving. Usually I save that till Christmas, but you can have it Christmas and Thanksgiving. You can see that side of the garage still has a little work yet. I did find a couple more rotted boards on that side, so I have to go and buy some more siding and prime it before I put it up. I do prime both sides of the siding. Here you can see this iachroma was exposed and it got nipped. It looks pretty bad at the top. I don't know, the middle part of it still looks pretty green. Again, I'm not gonna do anything to it until I see what happens. If the leaves fall off, I may cut it back some. It will die back to the ground. It'll come up again next year. Camellias don't tend to be affected by a little dip like we had last week. Here you can see this camellia hedge. It's full of bud, but you can see some of the flowers are starting to come out. The nice thing, you may not like it, it serves my purposes. I do shape my camellias, and the nice thing about doing that is it forces the blossoms, if you cut them at the right time of the year, they'll set blossoms all around the sides and not at the top, and you can't see the top anyway, so it's perfect for viewing to see all of the flowers on the sides of the camellia. If you were wondering what I was trying to show you, the buds on the sides of the camellia. Here's a close-up of the ligularia. Waited all year for this blossom. It is spectacular. Yellow always shows up from a distance. This one lived, that I just planted this year, and next year I expect more out of it. The frost didn't impact too much around here because of this pindo palm overhead structure. Pretty much shielded everything, so it protected it from frost. This palm grass, if frost hits it, it turns brown in a skinny minute, so frost did not hit it at all. I guess the best way to show evidence of the palm protecting is, here's my white angel's trumpet, and the exposed at the top has been touched, but the one nearer the palm is just happy as a lark over there. And the bottom part of it is still doing fine, so that's not dead. It'll sprout back again. In fact, that flower looks like it may bloom. If it does, I'll take a picture of it. The flowers on this Fatsia japonica don't seem to be affected. Here's one that has just opened today. It has affected the bee life around it. There isn't any right now. Of course, it's 7:30, and they may be union bees. They're not up yet. Definitely the kumquats are ripe, as are the satsumas. And even back here you can see how this pindo palm protected the butterfly gingers, because frost will turn them yellow like the ones at the bottom. That wasn't yellow from the frost, that was yellow from just lack of moisture. But trust me, the ones at the top would be the same. They certainly wouldn't be flowering had frost actually got to them. And the flowers on the Loquats are still blooming. So overall, there's not a lot of impact from the first frost of the season, mainly because of the protection afforded by the overhead plants and the nearness of my tropical plants to the fencing or house. I do wish to take those bananas to the ground, but I'm gonna, if they come back, I'll let them come back. I'll just take the dead off eventually. I don't like the bananas there. They're right over the top of plumbing pipes that are plastic, and they run to my garage because that's where my washer and dryer is. And sooner or later, the weight of that is probably going to crack the pipes. So I do want to eventually take them down. And you may ask, well, why did you plant them on top of the pipes, you fool? Well, the reason is quite simple. I had banana trees elsewhere in my backyard nearer the fence to protect them from the freezes, because these are they're right out in the open, so they're not that protected. But the problem is, since I feed the birds, I also feed squirrels, which I affectionately call rat. I will save that last term. And what they discovered is that the tips of my banana trees are real sweet and full of water. And so whenever we'd have a dry spell, they would jump on my banana trees and nibble the fresh tips down. Banana trees recover quite easily. However, the squirrels would come back every day. They'd grow about 2 or 3 inches. The squirrels would nibble them down. And I could not stop the squirrels from doing that. So what I had to do is take my bananas and I put them in the middle of the yard so the squirrels couldn't get onto them as easily. And I really only planted 2 bananas here. Of course, that was now about 10 years ago. And you can see that they do spread. In fact, that one is still fighting my deck. You can see the deck board is losing. All summer long, I have been cutting that thing down, and it's already pushed the deck board up. So once the bananas take hold, they really like a spot, and they'll just spread and spread. So there you have it for today. What you can learn from the frost and how to harness little pockets around your house that stay warmer. Have a good day.